welcome to another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I am your host, and I'm very pleased to welcome my co-host, Lee Harris from ATPI Travel. How are you?
Very good, thank you. Basking in bright sunshine here in the UK. We've had it for about 4 days now, so it's pretty much our summer nearly done, I think.
Well, I have to say that today it isn't as sunny as it normally is. I was saying off camera that yesterday I was working in the sun, and I managed to get one half of my face tan because I wasn't aware. You're working away and the sun is only getting one side of you, and it didn't sort of show up until last night. So I was hoping today I could even that out, but unfortunately there's no sun. So
even that's working against you, Rhea. That's the problem, isn't it?
I think it's just I'm stuck with a trucker stand, is what that is.
I think it's a good look, a really good look.
Do you know what? I'm at the age now where it is what it is.
Indeed, exactly right. And plus the fact that you don't leave your house, it don't really matter. No one's going to see you.
Right? So heading into travel, of course, we're starting it off with a double header at Gatwick. What's going on there?
Yeah, a group of aircraft refuelers for airlines such as EasyJet Gatwick have voted to strike. Now, the two sets of 4-day walkouts by union members working for Redline Oil are due to start on May the 16th to May the 20th, and then again from May the 23rd to May the 27th. Now, the action will lead to cancelled and delayed flights, including in the early part of May half-term, the union warns. The Redline workers have voted to strike after rejecting an offer of 3.5% over 2 years. Now, some action will overlap with another strike planned by more than 100 Unite members employed by Red Handling at the airport. Now, baggage handlers, check-in staff and flight dispatchers intend to walk out again for 4 consecutive Sundays. The first strike is set for May the 18th, then the 25th, and finally June the 2nd.
Heading right into the summer season. Woo-woo.
Yeah, I know. They're getting ready, aren't they? Ramping up. It won't just be the UK. I'm sure we're going to get hit all over the place.
Well, we got a little bit of chaos going on the other side of the ocean. Newark Air. I was reading just the other day, they've had 3 incidences now in the past 2 weeks. And, already the U.S. is having some massive issues with their Federal Aviation Society. What's going on?
It's just been a complete nightmare, to be honest with you. So after a weekend of hundreds of flight delays and cancellations, the disruptions continued into the work week. Now, as of Tuesday this week, Newark had at least 275 delays and 151 cancellations. Now, flights scheduled to fly into Newark were facing 4-hour delays at their airport of origin. Now, due to staffing and low ceilings, there is a traffic management program in effect for traffic arriving Newark International Airport. There was also cloudy weather in the New York, New Jersey area, which is called low ceilings. That is further complicating operations. This is causing some arriving flights to be delayed an average of 3 hours and 59 minutes. Now, the situation at Newark reached boiling point last week when United Airlines CEO Scott Kirby said the carrier would be forced to cancel 35 round-trip flights per day out of Newark. That equates to around 10% of its schedule from the airport, and that is for the foreseeable future. Now, according to Kirby, the chaos started early last week when, on more than one occasion, technology that the Federal Aviation Authority air traffic controllers rely on to manage the airplanes coming in and out of Newark Airport failed, resulting in dozens of diverted flights, hundreds of delayed and cancelled flights, and worst of all, thousands of customers with disrupted travel plans. The CEO said, making matters worse, over 20% of the AA controllers for Newark walked off the job. Obviously, what we would say, anyone who has flights booked via Newark, please keep in contact with your travel provider and airline for the latest information. And if it is possible to look to give yourself more longer time for connecting flights in Newark, we would highly recommend it.
Well, from what I read, the flight aviation people lost contact with every single airplane in the sky for 90 seconds.
They did.
When you and I think about 90 seconds, that doesn't seem like a lot, but I know even when editing or, when you're literally watching the microwave or whatever, 90 seconds is an awful long time to have hundreds of airplanes up in the sky. And each one of those airplanes has hundreds of people on it. And nobody knows what anybody else is doing. And it is such a precise, it's like directing like a ballet almost. I mean, everybody has a move and you deviate just your feet from that move that you've got to take. And you
Yeah,
can actually create, one of the worst disasters in airline history if that were to happen. Um,
absolutely right.
and it just seems, with all of this stuff coming up, and the FAA having a ton of these air traffic controllers being laid off earlier in the year, and they were already understaffed. The US has a hard road ahead of it.
Yeah, they have. I mean, they haven't. I did see an announcement yesterday that they're in the process of looking to overhaul the whole system for the US, but that's not going to be a quick job. That's something that's going to take, I would imagine, years to put in place and implement and update, whether it be infrastructure or processes or whatever it is. So, especially for certain, it seems to be certain airports more than others that are struggling. I don't know whether it's because their gear is outdated or older or whatever. But yeah, like you said, there's not going to be an easy fix to this.
Well, and air traffic controllers, I mean, a lot of people don't understand what goes into taking on that role and taking on that job. And it is make no mistake, a very high stress job. And when you are not provided the tools in order to do your job correctly, then yes, people will walk out because can you imagine being responsible for tens of thousands of lives in the air and your employer, whether it be the federal government or whether it be, your state government is not providing you the tools in order to do your job, I'd be walking off that job too. And there's not a lot of these, people coming up the ranks either. It's
Yeah,
not seen as an attractive job proposition with the current situation.
exactly right. I mean, simple terms, it's like it's akin to an orchestra with no conductor. You've got all these planes in the sky, but they've got nobody, putting them where they need to be. So yeah, 100%. I mean, having the right equipment actually works and does its job, and giving the air traffic controllers, all of the information and details that they need to actually do their job. And so if they don't get them, 100% people are going to walk out. They're not going to need to stress of that.
Well, let me just put this out there. If you're in a wheelchair and you are somebody who is operating the skies of the US, you're still just as good as the next person. So I think I heard some of that rhetoric coming out of the current US administration about diversity hires. Well, let me tell you. Interesting. Anyways, moving on. Enough political stuff for today. South Africa, Australia. What's going on there?
Yeah, from December this year, travellers can fly directly between Johannesburg and Perth, reducing travel time to just under 10 hours. The new service gives South Africans quicker access not only to Western Australia, but also to cities across the country and to New Zealand with just one stop. The flights will operate 3 times a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, with a flight time of approximately 9 hours and 55 minutes. Now, the route will be serviced by Qantas Airbus A330, offering 27 business class suites in a 1-2-1 layout, each with lie flat beds and direct aisle access, and 224 economy seats designed for comfort on longer journeys. The Perth service will also connect seamlessly to Qantas's domestic network with onward flights to major Australian cities, including Melbourne, Brisbane, and Adelaide.
Nice. And Edinburgh Airport has some news.
Yeah, Edinburgh has become the latest UK airport to install new generation CT scanners at security. Now, a total of 8 new Smiths detection scanners have been installed, which has also seen the addition of 2 new security lanes. The airport said the 24 million investment means customers can now leave liquids and large electrical items in their hand luggage when passing through security. Liquid containers no longer need to be kept in a clear plastic bag, and there is no limit to the number of liquids which can be carried on board. That's providing they are in containers no larger than 100 mils. We discussed this in previous episodes of Crew Travel that last month Gatwick Airport also completed the installation of new Smiths detection scanners at 19 security lanes.
Nice. And Air France has some news.
Yeah, there's been good news for Yacht Crew this week, who are based out of French Polynesia, with Air France announcing additional frequencies between Paris and Tahiti, with the island serving flights stopping in Los Angeles, the United States. The flights operated by an Airbus A350 will go from 5 weekly to daily from December. Now, for any crew who have had the pleasure to work aboard a yacht in Tahiti, you will know how difficult and expensive flights can be to the area. Now, with the new daily offering, flights at least should be easy to get to. Whether that reflects in the price, though, is yet to be seen. Now, all of these new flights will depart daily from Paris at 6:55 p.m. in the evening. I do just want to reiterate as well on this. When people go to book these flights from Paris to Tahiti, their ticket will show it as being from Paris to Tahiti. It doesn't actually show the stopover in LA. It is imperative for any crew, they must have either a B1, B2 visa for the US or an ESTA, because if they don't, they won't be able to board that flight. Any flights from Paris to Tahiti do touch down for what they call a refueling stop in the US. You must have B1, B2 or an ESTA visa. It is very vital.
I am so glad you booked my flights way, way far away from the US airspace. I just got to say.
Makes it easier for you.
Oh, I keep envisioning. I'm watching these stories, these news stories come out, and I keep envisioning in my head if anybody asked to see my social media. Now, not my business social media, but my personal social media. And I could just, I mean, you wouldn't hear from me for months.
No, we wouldn't. You'd be tucked away somewhere. We'd never see you again.
Rhea would be disappeared.
I think so.
I'd be in El Salvador.
Somewhere.
Making friends in an El Salvadorian prison, I would be. Oh, how exciting. Good
To be
time.
fair, you'd probably be running within 2 weeks, Rhea.
Possibly. Either that or I'd be executed. I mean, I don't know. Take your
One or the
pick.
other. Yeah.
Right, Lee, I gotta say, it's been an absolute pleasure. And of course, to everybody out there that's been listening, if you are looking to book any of your flights, please do get in touch with Lee. His information is here. Yeah, I mean, I'm booking all my flights through him because I don't want to be stuck anywhere in the world right now without knowing that somebody's got my back and is going to make sure I get to my destination. So it's really wise to make sure you go with a travel provider that is there 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be calling you in the middle of the night during my flight. Lee. And if you ignore my WhatsApp, I'm telling you, there's going to be a price to pay.
Yeah, I'll just put you on mute.
Yeah, probably. Notifications from Rhea. Mute forever.
Yeah.
Thanks. Right, you've been watching another edition of Crew Travel right here on Yachting International Radio. My name is Rhea. I have been your host, and of course, on behalf of myself and Lee Harris from ATPI Travel, we'll see you again next week.